Welcome to this web conference on a very current topic, from Metaverse to immersive commerce, a practical guide to navigate the new buying cycle in the virtual space. So I'm going to be your host for today's web conference. I'm Oriane Lemaire. I'm Communications Director at the French-Korean Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We are glad to organize this event in partnership. Thanks for the clap. We are glad to organize this event in partnership with the German-Korean Chamber of Commerce. This occasion is actually very special for us, as it is our very first event hosted in the Metaverse. So I have the pleasure to be joined on stage today by Sarah Schmidt. She's a seasoned creative 3D consultant and co-founder and CEO at VSLB Visual Lab to discuss the current state of the Metaverse landscape. So during the session, she will share success stories, examine the industry's challenges, and explore the potential for e-commerce to expand beyond traditional 2D websites and into immersive and 3D virtual commerce experience. Sarah, I leave you the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Oriane, for this super engaging introduction to spatial. I really loved every move that you all have been making, and I'm so happy you're joining me today, this afternoon here in this extended reality. And I just want to take a moment and reflect on this moment. I mean, we're all in a space together. We don't really know or see each other face to face, but somehow I feel so connected to you. And so with this feeling of connectivity, I would love to start this webinar. And I left.
Sorry, just Sarah, just before you continue on, I sent everybody to their seats.
Ah, okay.
So and don't be surprised. Let's go
okay,
on.
No worries. Yes, perfect. Thanks for doing that. Yeah, so I am Sarah. I'm the co-founder and CEO at VSLB, and I'm also a 3D creative consultant. And I want to tell you a little bit about the time when I was a ballet dancer. So in my past career as a ballet dancer, I danced over 1,500 performances. And what I felt there of doing this profession was when art coming together and all of these different elements, such as stage design, music, dance, performance, costume designs and lighting, what deep emotional impact this has on people. And so today I really would like to bring the same experience into world of business, advertising, and digital experiences. Because I really believe that business is not just transactions, relationships, and providing services, but it really goes beyond into providing experiences for people and for each other. And so I'm so thrilled to be here today. And in my past career, and also now, I've been working with some of renowned brands in Korea and worldwide. Yeah, I've been really, really happy and grateful to do this. And so today I've been venturing more and more with my company also in the realm of Metaverse. And so I would love to guide you through today to some of the new technologies and rising technologies to transform the traditional customer touchpoint and the traditional customer journey with the rising technologies in the gaming industry and the Metaverse as well. Because I really believe that art and architecture and technologies redefine a new customer journey for the future and bring artistic momentum and meaningful moments to people. So I will guide you through some, Metaverse technologies, the overall landscape, but we'll be also discussing how actually these technologies from the Metaverse are transforming the immersive commerce experience. And I want to also provide further insights into how maybe this may connect into Web3 space as well. Yeah, so for those who are not familiar with the Metaverse, I think you're getting a great sense of what it is today, just being here in this virtual environment. And it is a virtual space where people really can play, interact, and socialize. And as you might know, the Metaverse is not a single platform, but compromises various platforms and extended reality experiences. And it also is actually becoming more and more a tool for not only consumer brands, but people in general, to innovating brand communication, retail, and the commerce space as well. So I wanted to give you a little overview of the Metaverse. Of course, there are more elements and sections that come in the metaverse that come to play, especially for the technologies. But I wanted to make it simple and categorize it into 3 sections. Of course, there are more technologies at play and now metaverse platforms at play. But today we will be discussing these 3 because they are a key element, especially when it comes to brand communication or bringing a new form of community and commerce in. And so the current metaverse landscape in form of virtual world or extended reality, I wanted to categorize them in decentralized metaverse. A decentralized metaverse is powered by the blockchain and allows users to interact with digital assets such as avatars, items, and virtual currencies. The decentralized metaverse is the new type of digital economy based on the principles of decentralization, trust, and transparency. For example, they also widely connect with, of course, also cryptocurrencies and NFTs as well. And the centralized metaverse, for example, are platforms like Fortnite, Zapeto, and Roblox, and they are usually existing games or companies that are developing these metaverses. And for those platforms, actually, they allowed a lot of brands or a lot of consumer brands tap into a new customer segment, such as the gaming industry, but also monetize on selling of digital goods or expanding a brand awareness to younger generations. And then, of course, there are also augmented reality technologies and VR as well. But augmented reality, I think, is a really key factor when it comes also to some of the metaverse technologies. They have been widely used in social media marketing, for example, in form of face filters. But also more and more companies are now integrating augmented reality experiences into their own platforms to provide an enhanced experience in order to try out products in their homes or really overlap maybe a jewelry on a wrist. So these 3 types are basically making up for the metaverse. But what is more interesting behind these metaverse platforms and this overall landscape, they're actually a key player are the gaming technologies and the 3D modeling software that are enabling the curation of these experiences. Yeah, so to summarize, there are various companies who are developing the metaverses and applying them into their businesses to embark this new digital transformation. And this will also, of course, affect several industries such as the hospitality business, e-learning fields, retail, commerce, as well as our working life. And yeah, today I really would like to focus a little bit more on the brand communication aspect of it and also the commerce and advertising space. And even if you're here today, maybe coming from a B2B space or from a B2B company, it is not a problem, maybe because we will discuss how you can utilize basically some of these technology behind the metaverse in order to transform your brand communication. Looking at some numbers, I really wanted to dive deeper into the topic and see what the metaverse really entails in terms of impact of e-commerce and retail, and as well as the advertising industries. I found a report from McKinsey's latest report of the value creation in the metaverse. And the impact of the metaverse actually will, on to retail and e-commerce, will actually have go up to $2.6 trillion US, while also the advertising industry will be highly affected. And I was questioning, like, why is that so? Like, why are these numbers so significant, and where is it going really? And I think it is also because the metaverse is a virtual space which ultimately provides an extended reality to our own. Of course, there are more factors at play, like, for example, building community, enabling co-creation, especially in the current landscape. But I think in overall, these technologies are really going to be used in various different ways to communicate to our customers and communicate our services and make the experience really more immersive and meaningful for people. So yeah, but also the metaverse, of course, brings some challenges. The decentralized and centralized metaverse bring definitely challenges for companies and brands that want to tap into the spaces and the various different platforms. First of all, of course, like which one to choose might be difficult, but also I think there's still a big concern in terms of security and data protection, and some companies and brands might be a little bit prone to enter a metaverse, identifying if this is the right strategy for their business long term, but also the adoption of people that participate in these experiences. Technical challenges. So there are various kind of challenges that I think still need to be overcome when we look at the overall landscape, which may leave you with a question: what does the impact of the virtual space on commerce, marketing, and advertising entail for my business in the future? Because looking at the numbers and several reports, looking at the growth of the metaverse and impact of several different industries and areas. And also, what is the role of the technology behind the metaverse? And please keep these questions in mind. I will answer them in a bit. Please, next slide. And there's a whole different side to the metaverse, actually, the consumer's perspective also. The consumer is now more tech savvy than ever, and the wants and the needs of a consumer, as well as the companies to fulfilling the desires of the audience, will go hand in hand to fuel the growth of the metaverse in these specific areas. And specifically looking at some of the reports that capture the consumer's perspective in terms of gamified and augmented reality experience. A study from Snap Inc. found actually that 85% of consumers love to engage with a brand by interacting with their product through AR and gamified experiences. While a brand on the platform only felt 65% ready to provide more interactive experience. And finally, 95% more sales was actually reported over the platform from companies that use AR and gamified experiences. And this shows us actually that the consumers from 15 to 35, which is actually the primary kind of age gap, who are engaging on social media platforms, gaming platforms, and are really much more tech savvy and engaged in the virtual space, are more engaged when experiencing action-driven memorable moments, when they do experience that with a brand. But I would like to have you for a little bit a different perspective on the metaverse for a second. I would like to you to imagine the metaverse with your consumer in mind for a second, a virtual space, with your consumer in mind. So imagine a virtual space actually encapsulating your brand identity and enabling these personalized moments through sensory stimulation. And this stimulation is fueled by a digital world through sound, adding a layer of audio, visual, and an action-driven approach. So just like how we can actually act in this virtual space, we could also act with any kind of company or brand within the space. So looking at the shift, like let's say we have a product visual, we have normally, of course, 2D images that are used in advertising. And so looking at the shift now, they can tap into an immersive space rather than just looking at a product, for example. And I think companies and brands alike want to offer a heightened experience. And it is not only about omnichannel marketing or all the initiatives that you're driving. It is also how do we shape commerce in a way that customers feel the same level of care like in the in-shop experience. And so there is a totally new and innovative approach of using gaming technologies to curate experiences right from your website without needing to access third-party platforms, for example, where we're using the metaverse as a new customer experience and where we're bringing that really on a platform where it enables a heightened experience in the digital space. Imagine now that we are in the internet and having a digital experience where we don't have to actually look at products anymore, but we are actually interacting with a company in an immersive commerce experience that is driven by the 3D internet. And the 3D internet is really enabling a transformative customer journey, an immersive commerce experience, and it also enables all the sensory stimulation that we just discussed before, enables these memorable moments and makes them really a personalized moment. And so, for example, the virtual space, the metaverse, we will enter with a digital twin, for example. We will have interactive product showcases, video and image streaming, sound and audio, a level of gamification, and the technology to create this interactive virtual space are the technologies that are widely used when creating mobile and games on the PC games, for example. And this is how it could look like. Yes, it's okay. Actually, I think you did have different settings. I mean, it can come in any kind of different form. It can come in any kind of different shape. It can embody your brand. And for the last 6 months, we have been my team and I, we have been really diving deep into this immersive commerce concept and figuring out what is it, how does it really resolve in a virtual space that is really on your website and where you can go through and where you can be enabled to discover something of your brand in an immersive environment. And here, yeah, people can enter as a digital twin, interact with a product, immerse with sound. And for us, for example, we used it more for a brand communication aspect for us as a personal project to really find out what it entails and how can we create a virtual environment that really suits our business needs, but also immerses people in our storytelling. And just to show you, for example, how it could look like, it can be an interactive space where you can have full control over the environment and products, for example, with pop-ups, image streaming, and so forth. And yeah, it is really customizable. So I was very astonished by this new way of utilizing gaming technology. Yeah, so the virtual spaces can be used for marketing and brand communication as an immersive manner for product launches and special events, but also, of course, exclusive experiences, also token-gated experiences if the NFT aspect falls in. That is a little bit more complex, but there are different ways you can integrate that into your brand communication or in the purpose of how you want to market with it, of course. Looking at a traditional customer journey of 5 stages, for example, we can consider the interactive virtual space on your website to become as an addition to the consideration phase. It can also fall into the awareness phase or even the purchase phase, for example. But when it comes to the awareness phase, it can be, for example, a branded environment where a customer can enter and they can find out anything about your brand values, your heritage, your storytelling embedded in the DNA of the space itself, and also through video streaming, engage on a deeper level and a gamified experience there. But looking, for example, at the consideration phase, it could come in as a product showcase where you can interact with the product, where you can play with the product, where you can have different pop-ups and different things featured through, and you can perhaps even try them out with your avatar as well. And yeah, in the purchase phase, they could seamlessly maybe collect an item and bring it onto into their basket and check out maybe within the experience, or even go seamless have an extension to an external link or e-commerce or in-shop rewards, for example. And let's look at some of the companies that have been doing that already. Let's look at Clinic Lab. Yeah, so I want to look at 3 different case studies today. For example, Clinic's Lab. So Clinic Lab, Clinic's virtual lab is a great initiative that Clinic actually just started a couple of months ago, and they really embedded this immersive commerce concept into their brand strategy. So they started basically with showcasing a virtual space about their brand where people can find out about their heritage, where people can find out about product formulations, and then they're even extending it now into the e-commerce where people can seamlessly shop and collect and also interact with products. So it's a pretty amazing experience, and so far the customers spent up to 13 plus minutes within this space, and it shows us that the transformation from a 2D website now having a 2D maybe experience that would transform into the 3D immersive world has such a big impact and difference in terms of minutes how we spend in a space and interact with the brand. So normally maybe we would spend 3 minutes, but now 13 plus minutes average stay in space is absolutely fantastic. And I think it shows how when we are applying this in a really well manner into our brand, that this can be very powerful. Looking next, we will go to see H&M. H&M has also embedded this really far in their business. They really got experimental with different kind of technologies. Last winter they launched a virtual showroom, but also 5 AR, so augmented reality fashion pieces where people could really try out the fashion through their mobile phones through an app. and also was substituted with a digital space for an immersive showcase. And it sold out in Korea and worldwide really within a few minutes. It really shows that this personalized moment is really what customers crave today. And then I also want to show you one more example. Adidas is also one of the brands that really has embedded the Web3 transformation very well. And they are trying out various different things, but now they have actually expanded an experience into the Metaverse into a little bit different way. For example, they're launching a 7-pack exclusive collection, and it enables people and NFT holders to experience like the virtual goods, but also the digital goods at the same time. And they will have access to special and specific memberships and experiences that are only curated for the people on the NFTs holders. It also embeds a new web experience that shows basically the product in a really interactive manner on their website as well. It's a virtual space where people can fully interact with the product and experience the products. And yeah, what are the success drivers of these brands implementing these technologies? I think overall, the 360 approach to the business integration is really important. I think most of the successful brands have really made it one of the top priorities to curate some of the experience around the customer's desires and around younger generations. But also what I have noticed is that it makes them successful is because they're moving the selling point in the background, and they're actually bringing the experience and the audience and the audience-centered approach in the forefront. And so through providing better experience to the right target customers, brands and businesses can actually benefit very much from a metaverse that is more powered in a brand engaging way and curated around their communities. And it really puts a brand into an innovative spotlight. Yeah, the memorable experience, how do we curate them? And well, I think overall, if you really want to embed something like this into your own brand communication, we are looking at, for example, 3 different elements that are going to define a successful experience, but also that build the structure of a long-term initiative, for example. So there's one, spatial architecture, which defines where the customer enters. It defines the customer flow. It defines the overall space and the points of interaction. Where do we want our customers to interact with any brand and product within the space? And then the gamified experiences and the mission that we are implementing into the experience to motivate our customers to embark more and more on a journey with us. So let's start with the space, which is the foundation of every experience on the web. Building a brand-style space with a know-how of architecture and design. So this would basically where all your brand identity, where all the architecture embeds and encapsulates your brand identity, and where we also define every single zone where a customer can interact with the product, where the products are placed, and where everything is basically defined, like how the customer walks through, how long he stays in the space, and where we are guiding the customer really through. And at the second phase, we are adding the assets. So whenever we decided that we want to bring and implement a product into a space, we are going to edit, we need to digitize the assets and the products, any kind of products, and we will place them in the space. And then a space also needs to be made interactive. So a product basically could have features like color swaps, super zoom, 360 product view. It can also be enabled to have a pop-up. So here you can actually integrate some product interaction, enable checkout. So this is basically where a next level would come in and adding some features to make a interactive website, interactive virtual space. And then, of course, also there are some things you can do to make a more personalized moment and a personalized approach. So, for example, you could include a mission, and that's where the token collection would come in, where you can give people special offers. And, for example, where you could also include a brand ambassador video or imagery. Bringing in a brand ambassador might work really well for Korea, because Korean brands really love to work with brand ambassadors in order to, approach people and make it more personal for them. And maybe there could be a video of a brand ambassador speaking to your audience, for example. And moving forward, yeah, this is basically more or less how it could look like. We did our R&D, and I just wanted to show you how this would be. It's an interactive virtual environment, more like a smaller virtual space, and it would enable a few features such as pop-ups and product rotations, and yeah, with a full implementation into a website, basically. And usually gaming engines, they then, you know, would enable then also to either stream things to your website or embed everything as a standalone website as well. There are two different kinds of approaches, depending on what technology you're using in the back end, obviously. And then there is another element that is quite important, actually. It's level design, and the level design will define where does the customer move through the space, what happens in every single touch point. And for example, just an example would be you would enter a space on your website and collect a token, you would reach a product showcase, you interact with the items, you click a pop-up, move to the next touch point, and then you're re-engaging your audience maybe through a specific gamified feature like token collection again, or a video or image streaming from an influencer as well. So while the metaverse, of course, is still like an emerging technology and is now just starting to be used in brand communication through our websites and making our 2D websites more 3D immersive virtual spaces, I think there will be more and more adoption of this new technology, especially because the hardware technology will get better. And then while the hardware technology will get better, there will also be more opportunities for us to integrate immersive experiences. They fuel a very deep connections with the audience based on some of the case studies that are found and that are really engaging. And I hope maybe you can try it out for yourself. And also one virtual space, one interactive 3D environment can actually live forever. It could always exchange and interchange with new products, for example, but it also can change maybe its design over the years. It can also connect to the NFT space, virtual influencers, and so on. But I have to look a little bit on the time. And before we are wrapping up, I would like to look a little bit into the future of virtual commerce. And I think we all have been quite engaged in the latest ChatGPT releases and generative AI releases. And what happened is that I think there's going to be a lot of customization elements in the virtual space and in the metaverse, where maybe chatbots, where companies use chatbots in order to personalize the experience, answer not only questions, but really make recommendations based on the data that is collected. Perhaps the environment could even change far into the future based on the customer preference, for example, what they want to see, what colors do they like. And then also avatars. I think avatars have been developed more and more, especially in the gaming industry. Of course, it's a very big topic of your digital twin, but avatars may also be fueled and powered by AI in the future. There are a few companies out there that are already developing the AI avatars that can maybe be brought into a specific environment and be a brand ambassador, for example, and be like a person who guides another person through the space or engages in a nice way. Yeah, but I think while this development of AI and all of this creation of the metaverse is ongoing, what we have to consider also that we are totally part of this transformation and we are part of this co-creation. So we all have the power to decide how do we integrate these in our businesses, how do we personalize these moments, and how do we utilize AI, especially in the future when the metaverse will be more prominent. And yeah, with this being said, I really believe that art architecture and the technologies, gaming technologies, will play a really key role in how we are immersing our consumers of tomorrow. And by harnessing these technologies and combining them with a deep understanding of the power of art, and I'm really confident that we can create a new paradigm for customer experiences that are not only visually stunning, but also emotionally really engaging. And with this, we are coming to an end. I hope you could get an overview of what gaming technologies maybe play a key role in how we are immersing our customers in the future. I'm also always happy to answer more questions, as these 40 minutes were quite short. So please feel free to write me an email as well. And you can check out some of our latest experiences on the website as well. And yeah, I hope I could share some knowledge with you today, and I'm happy to answer some of the questions for the last few minutes that we have left. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah. It's time for questions. So actually, I have a few questions that I received. I have also one question myself, but maybe I will start and let you guys time to ask the questions. You can always use the chat to ask the questions. I have a question, Sarah, regarding the how do I say, accessibility of solutions. So far on all the success stories, I mean, this is my impression that most of the success stories in the Metaverse 3D is spearheaded by large companies and adapted to large companies, maybe who has bigger budgets. But what about maybe the popularization and accessibility of those solutions towards SMEs, maybe for smaller budgets? How do you see it evolving for the smaller players? Especially, for example, at the chamber, we have half of our communities is constituted by startups and SMEs. So maybe you have a word for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is not only for big brands and big companies. I think it really depends on what gaming technology you're using. For example, smaller experiences that could come to life through code and maybe the 3D modeling part are definitely more accessible. Because you're not creating like a full version of it, but you could just transform a little part of your touch point in order to maybe provide a bit better experience for that. And also, I think there's going to be a lot of platforms that might offer also the co-creation, co-creation of these interactive virtual spaces in the future, because as also the 3D industry is evolving so strongly, the entire developer community is also evolving. And so I think that maybe there's going to be some solutions that will come in and providing like presets or allowing people maybe to build their own interactive 3D spaces further down the road. I hope it answered your question.
Yes, completely.
Yes.
I received another question. Like we see that there are many challenges in the adoption of the metaverse, and some customers, especially younger customers, are ready for the change and are very, how to say, adoptive of this trend. What about the teams implementing the solutions? Like, do you have advice to companies who want to implement solutions, but who have teams who are not yet fully prepared? Like, do you advise to recruit new people? Like, in terms of in companies' organization, what would be your advice?
My advice is, well, what I've seen so far, especially on those case studies that I have looked at, what I've seen so far is that there's so much co-creation happening. So companies actually are recruiting specific people, different artistic directors, different technology people. They're bringing in the right people in order to make it happen. Maybe without having the need now to fully recruit or shift an entire team into a metaverse, for example. I think we are living in such an open world, and there's so much talent in the world that you can find so many skilled people that have not only made it their business, but they're also freelancing, for example, and they're super engaged and amazing talent. So I would say before starting any initiative like this, I think I think it needs to come from the top, maybe to understand why do I really want to use it, and asking this question and answering that one first. And what are really my objectives with this? Not only, by providing a better experience, maybe online, but what is my long-term strategy in order to implement these kind of solutions? And then from there, then there would be the next step in order to find out, maybe do a pilot project, a smaller project to test it really out.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, we can see like, especially we had like many participants today from the luxury industry. And I think some of the luxury companies, they are recruiting teams dedicated to this. It's become such an important trend that
Right. Yeah,
it's
and
been
I think a lot of businesses have really made it a top priority to understand these technologies much better, and maybe have a head of innovation or a head of Metaverse or Web3 as well to embark this transformation, for sure.
we have maybe a few more minutes, maybe one or two last questions. I had one last question for you, Sarah, which was we see the powerful space we can create, but what about hardware? So I'm not sure. I think you're not specialized on hardware, but maybe you might have some clues about it. Do the hardware can keep up with the trend and is enough? We would be enough equipped for this revolution to come. Like some people promise it's going to be a revolution, but at some point, aren't we going to be limited, especially with all the supply issue we knew in the semiconductors industry, the rare earth like supply issue, the rare minerals. Like, how do you see it happening? Like we are always so ambitious, but will the hardware follow keep up with the trend?
It's an excellent question. I love that you asked this because while, for example, we created our own experience and also with various gaming technology, we really found out there's so much optimization to do in terms of the 3D side in order to make an experience fit for the hardware of today. So I think it depends, of course, what you're doing. Like if you're doing an experience that is streamed through the cloud, there is then the cloud infrastructure that is powered maybe by AWS, for example, and then it would stream directly to your browser and to each single device who's accessing this experience. But still, there is a lot to do, I think, than maybe building cloud infrastructure yourself, or not even yourself, or you have to maybe use some of the third party in order to do this kind of experience. But from the 3D side, you need to be very highly skilled in order to optimize the 3D model and optimize all the assets to make them really light so they are running smoothly on every device and are accessible from all over the world for a lot of people. So I think there are still quite some challenges, but in a few years down the road, maybe it will be much easier, as also the gaming technology will get much better, and the people will be more skilled and adaptive to create experiences that are using the hardware as a technology, I would say.
Okay, so yeah, very complete. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think accessibility is a huge issue. I think what's the issue in the metaverse right now is that we can see some successful experience, but maybe it doesn't reach yet mass users. I mean, we can still Zepeto, some like platform are very popular, but we could say that it would be a metaverse version, but maybe a future challenge will be like really accessibility.
Right, and I can just encourage to try out these experiences that I mentioned today, because they are just a perfect example of what is possible today, and actually how high you can get with the fidelity. You can also go on our website and test our experience out. It's very interesting because we're experimenting more and more with the field of 3D technologies and also gaming technologies, and then I think it's quite a big complex topic, but some people make it already a business case, and I think that shows that there's a lot of potential there still.
Okay, so then if we don't have more questions, I think we can take group pictures. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, sounds great. Would be really nice.
Okay, so guys, be ready. I'm gonna keep you all. I am the host. I have all powers over you. I'm gonna bring all of you to me.
But it's
like a concert. You're not. Looks like a concert. We have a pool of fans in the pit. please jump, come on stage. Let's get aligned, like in a group picture, like it's like an official event, you know. Let's all get together in a line. Yes, perfect. So now face the auditorium, like, yeah, you are facing the right direction. I'm gonna move around my screen and take a photo. Okay, let's be ready. I see Fabien, you can join us on stage. Yeah, and then you jump, and then you're here with us. Or you can make the full turn. It should work. Okay, good, you're there. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's be in the same direction as me. Okay, great. Let's take a first picture. Yeah, and then do all the reaction, thumb up reaction, like this. Let's all do thumb up reaction. Yes, yeah, good. Okay, and now maybe we can record a short film too, and maybe we can all dance, make the pop and lock. Oh, it's freestyle dance, huh? You can do the freestyle dance. Yes, perfect. Okay, photo, and then let's record a small video. Yes. Okay. I think it's a wrap.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone to attend, and also for Oriane and everybody, all the organizers, for having me today here and for this experience.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. It was really interesting. I think so. You must not hesitate to focus on social media.
Yeah.
Follow Sarah's account. I think it's at VSLB. I think you have a beautiful Instagram, I believe. So don't hesitate to stay in touch with us.
LinkedIn is good. Yeah.
LinkedIn as well. I mean, we can send an email, follow-up email to all the participants. Maybe share the slide if you're okay, Sarah, and maybe contact info if they need more or are interested in your solutions. We wish you a great week, and we see you soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah, have a nice evening, everyone.